say?
I am Iron Man.
Oh, what's in the box?
Flash, I love you, but we only have 14 hours to save the Earth.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
And here we go.
This is the Oasis. It's a place where the limits of reality are your own imagination.
Ready Player One, the latest big-budget tentpole for the 2018 season, and the first big-budget blockbuster sci-fi from the man who invented the blockbuster, Steven Spielberg, since 2005. It's great to see him taking a break from making Oscar-baiting films destined to be played on repeat in high school English and history classes, and as mentioned, after such a long hiatus, he certainly hasn't lost his edge in making blockbusters.
Hello, if you're watching this, I'm dead. I created a hidden object, an Easter egg. The first person to find the egg will inherit $500 billion and total control of the Oasis itself.
Set in the year 2045, where young people are still obsessed with everything from the 1980s due to the inventor of an advanced virtual reality system called the Oasis, bringing all your pop culture fantasies to life. Said inventor has essentially pulled a Willy Wonka and decided that upon his death, anyone in the Oasis can become the lead shareholder if they can complete 3 near impossible tasks and collect 3 keys. We have up-and-comer Ty Sheridan as Parzival and Olivia Cooke as Artemis. We've got Ben Mendelsohn just chewing scenery as the bad guy. And just quickly, I want to call it now. Ben Mendelsohn is definitely this generation's Alan Rickman. I want to get that on record before everyone starts saying that when he stars in that new Robin Hood movie that's coming out.
The Oasis, the world's most important economic resource. And this is nothing less than a war for control of the future.
The storyline is pretty video game / Hollywood bog standard. There's a quest, there's a MacGuffin, insane millimeters from death action sequences, and special effects that are only limited to the imagination. But when we're talking about Steven Spielberg's imagination, that becomes the USP for this film. Although, in the same breath, you could also say it's the NS-USP, because the film's not-so-unique selling point is that the storyline banks so heavily on other people's intellectual properties. Yes, this does fit the world of the film because the inventor of the Oasis was a pop culture nerd, but that doesn't mean the film isn't simply cashing in on all its nostalgia credits to the point of nauseam. I mean, ultimately, the film is one massive jerk-off to the 1980s, with references to the music, the movies, Spielberg himself, and his cinematic nearest and dearest. There are references to some things from the 90s, and the occasional reference to modern video games such as Halo and Overwatch, although little to no references to any Disney-held properties. Sure, there may be some, but it's not as in-your-face as the Iron Giant, Ninja Turtles, Batman, and Back to the Future. There is no denying that people will be piling over this film for years, trying to spot every Easter egg and reference. And yes, the film looks great, feels great, and is a hell of a lot of fun. There are so many great sequences that it is just too hard to name all of them. However, there is a whole sequence devoted to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining that is lovingly recreated in a way that feels like it's just been lifted straight from the original celluloid. Of course, as adept as Spielberg is at crafting a blockbuster, it still falls into the same problems as many of the modern-day blockbusters. Convenient plot holes, overuse of expository dialogue, and spectacle trumping character development, although, to be fair, Spielberg's spectacle is always worth seeing on the big screen.
Who is this Parzival, and how the hell is he winning?
Find him.
This isn't just a game. I'm talking about actual life and death stuff.
Amongst all this goodness though, Spielberg still seems to suffer with knowing how to finish his films. Ever since Artificial Intelligence, it's always felt like Spielberg hasn't quite known how to edit back his own ideas for the ending of his blockbusters. His third acts often feel like there are multiple points where the film could end, dragging them out longer than they actually need to be, and instead of choosing the dark ending or the ambiguous ending, he always settles for the overly sentimental ending, but still making us sit through the other potential endings. I'm certainly not saying that this ruins the movie, it just muddies up the pacing and makes for a feeling of exhaustion come the end of a Spielberg blockbuster. At the end of the day, Ready Player One is like a Drew Struzan poster has been vomited up on screen, which is only enhanced by Spielberg's eye for camera work, musical cues, and adventure beats. Yes, it is great to see all this 80s nostalgia up on the screen, but really, with Stranger Things on our TVs, Star Wars back on the big screen, and every conceivable 80s remake getting a green light, this film probably serves as peak 80s nostalgia, bordering on nausea. Ready Player One gets a bazillion 80s references out of a bazillion. Although, if you need a more accurate rating, 3 3/4 stars out of 5.
Save the Oasis.
Save the world.
Players, are you ready?
That's better. I'll wave to you from the finish line. McFly.
That went well.